perfect timing. Please be seated. Good afternoon, friends, family, honored guests, faculty, and most of all, graduates. My name is Dan Tokaji. I am the dean of this great law school, and it is my honor and privilege to welcome you to our hooding ceremony. First, I welcome our graduates. Congratulations! We are all very proud of you, and it is a delight to share this special moment in your lives with you. Next, I want to welcome the graduates' friends, family, and loved ones. Today marks a special moment for all of you, too, because nobody gets through something as difficult as law school alone. We all know how vital your support, patience, interest, and love have been to our graduates. None of them would be here today without all that you have done for them. You have every reason to be proud, not only of our graduates, but of yourselves for helping them get to this remarkable milestone in their lives. So, our first order of business, graduating class, is to recognize all these very important people whose contributions were essential to your success. Graduates, I'd ask you to stand as you're able, to turn towards, yeah, there you go. You don't have to listen to me after today. Stand as you're able, turn towards your friends, family, and loved ones, and please join me in giving them a big round of applause. Okay, now you can sit back down. I also want to welcome family, friends, and loved ones streaming the ceremony online. Welcome to you too. We are excited that you're able to join us remotely. I'll ask everyone on the stage to look at that camera right there behind the graduates. Let's all wave to the family, friends, and loved ones watching us from around the United States and around the world, and let's show them all some Wisconsin love by making the W sign to them. There we go. All right, excellent. We're glad you're here too. Along with the stream, you can follow this year's ceremony on social media. We have a hashtag which is UW-LawGrad that you should see there. We encourage everyone here to use that hashtag throughout today's ceremony. If you're so inclined, you can take a moment and take a selfie of yourself and the people next to you. This hashtag will also work tomorrow at the big university ceremony at Camp Randall. More on that later for those of you planning to join the university-wide ceremony, which is always a blast. I am pleased and proud to welcome our keynote speaker, Michelle Banky, our faculty speaker, Professor John Gross, and our student speakers. You'll be hearing more about all of these people later, Justin, Savannah, and Zhao Rule. Please join me in welcoming them. Almost fell off the stage there. Okay. Also joining us on stage are my colleagues, the University of Wisconsin Law School faculty and staff. As your teachers, mentors, and guides, graduates, they've been with you all the way through this part of your journey. We are all pleased and proud to share this day when you transition from being our students to becoming our colleagues and friends. If you don't mind, let's give these folks behind you a hand. All right. Thank you. Now, this is, of course, a really happy, celebratory day. But for those of us on this stage as your faculty and staff and mentors, it's also a little bit bittersweet because we are really going to miss you. You've made your way here. You've built communities around one another to support your legal education. You have had a positive impact on this place during your time here, and you leave it a better place than it was before, as I hope you will do throughout your careers. So, moving along, I want to first introduce our first speaker, our keynote speaker, my friend, Michelle Banky. I didn't have to say anything, but I will anyways. Michelle is the president of the American Bar Association. She is a proud UW Law graduate, as well as an attorney at Boardman Clark here in Madison. Before joining Boardman, Michelle spent 26 years as the principal of Michelle Banky and Associates, practicing in business, real estate, and estate planning. She's also an elected member of the American College of Real Estate Lawyers, the American Law Institute, the American Bar Foundation, and numerous other groups. Now, our keynote speaker for this ceremony is chosen every year by a small group of student volunteers who work with the administration to select someone just right to set the tone for today's ceremony. And for 3 reasons, I was absolutely thrilled that the committee selected Michelle as this year's keynote speaker. First, she is totally dedicated to this law school and this university. Michelle is what we call a double badger, or as she puts it, a double W, having earned both her undergraduate degree and her law degree from UW. She's also a distinguished member of the Law School Board of Visitors, our alumni advisory board. Her enthusiasm for and dedication to this place is palpable and contagious. She is one of our law school's greatest champions, and it has been a great honor to get to know her over the last 6+ years. This isn't my script, but I can also say that I'm personally grateful to Michelle because she was on the hiring committee that wound up picking me. Second, Michelle, as you'll shortly hear, is an inspiration to everyone she meets. She's had a remarkable career, not only as a practicing lawyer, but also through her extensive volunteer work, which reflects her fierce dedication to improving the legal profession. The leadership positions she's held include presidency of the Wisconsin State Bar as well as the ABA. They're testament to the reverence in which she is held by other lawyers across this state and indeed across the country. Michelle is the first UW Law graduate ever and only the second Wisconsin attorney ever to become the American Bar Association president, and she's the first since 1946. And it should come as no surprise that Michelle has collected a long list of awards, among them the Charles Goldberg Distinguished Service Award from the Wisconsin Law Foundation, the Wisconsin Law Journal Leaders in the Law Award, the YWCA Women of Distinction, the Wisconsin Association of African American Lawyers Outstanding Leadership Award. I could go on, but in the interest of time, I won't. You get the picture, this drive towards service. It's a hallmark of our law school, and Michelle exemplifies that. She is a leader, but she always leads with humility, often saying how fortunate she is and living by the motto, to whom much is given, much is expected. Now, that brings me to the third reason. This one I just added this morning. The third reason why I was so thrilled that Michelle was our speaker is because all of us here at the law school, myself included, we just love her. She's just a wonderful, wonderful person. So it is my pleasure and honor to introduce the 2026 Hooding Ceremony keynote speaker, Michelle Banky.
So with such a generous introduction, I think really I should just say congratulations and sit down and call it a day. Good afternoon, Dean Takaji, faculty, family, and friends, and most importantly, the 2026 University of Wisconsin Law School graduates. Being here today is especially sweet, since I was actually one of the people that welcomed you during orientation 3 years ago. So this is a full circle moment for us. Thank you for inviting me. And when I say a full circuit moment, that's not just a figure of speech. As the dean indicated, I earned my undergraduate degree at the university and I earned my law degree. So I am, in fact, a double W, which is either a sign of deep loyalty or an irrational fear of leaving Madison. You decide. I choose to believe that it's loyalty, which is why it meant so much to me to stand here or stand there at orientation and say, welcome, let's get to work. I shared some thoughts during orientation about what it would be like over the next 3 years. I started by telling you that one of the important things that you would do would be to learn to adapt to change. I shared with you a quote often attributed to Charles Darwin that says, it's not the strongest or the most intelligent of the species that survives, but the one best able to adapt to change. I told you that you would experience a change in the way you think, a change in the way you see things, and most importantly, a change in the way that you react to things. So was I right? Now, whether you answered that out loud, yes, or you said it in your head, the evidence is sitting right in front of me. Here we are, 3 years later. You survived cold calls, exams, clinics, writing requirements, deadlines that arrived whether or not you were ready, and a professional culture that doesn't always give you credit if you are listening to your body when it says you need some sleep. Likewise, you've adjusted and you've found a new definition for what constitutes a full night's sleep. You even developed flexibility on where you sleep, where you eat, and what constitutes rest and relaxation. You're here because you adapted to change. And I want to say this plainly. That ability to adapt to change will matter far more than your class rank, your resume, or where life takes you next. In fact, it matters most in the moments when you catch yourself thinking, once I get past this, things will finally settle down. At different points in your life, you've probably told yourself, or someone told you, things like this. After the LSATs, things will calm down. After 1L, it gets easier. After I get a job, after I make partner, after I find my footing, then it will be easier. Newsflash. That moment when things magically become easier, it never arrives. Because here's the truth that I wish someone had told me 38 years ago, don't do the math. Things do not get easier, but with practice, we get better at doing the hard things. Doing the hard things takes practice. Today did not arrive all at once. It was built moment by moment, decision by decision, success after success, and yes, a few failures as well. We all have them, and it's okay. You built that strength on days that asked something of you. The first exam you weren't quite ready for, the cold call that found you anyway, the deadline that forced you to focus, and the moment you spoke up when remaining quiet would have been easier. So yes, celebrate today and all the ones that came before. Those moments helped you get better at doing the hard things. Do not forget what gives today its weight. Today matters because of what it took to get here and because it points you forward. Some days ahead will look important the moment they arrive. The first day on the job, the first day that you stand up in court, the first time you sit across from a client who's really depending on you. Other days will feel ordinary, maybe even inconvenient or boring. But later, you'll realize that you learned something, chose something, and became a little more capable of doing the hard things from that moment. The mix of days all give you the ability to do hard things. It may not seem that way, but it's true. Don't discount either set of experiences. As you sit here today, some of you may feel entirely certain of what is to come next. Others of you may feel uncertainty. Both are normal and both are fine. For those of you who feel certain you know what's coming next, surprise! It won't go exactly as you think. There will be twists and turns. For those of you who are feeling a little uncertain about what comes next, uncertainty is not proof that you are unprepared. Surprise! It's proof that you are stepping into something real, something that matters to you. No matter what you face ahead, remember this: you don't have to face it alone. If adapting is how you survive, connecting is how you thrive. There's an African proverb that I've relied on a lot this year in my service, and it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. You are certainly here because of your own work, your unbelievable discipline, and your persistence. But this brings me back to another point I shared with you during orientation, one that matters even more now, as your title changes from student to attorney. Maintain your ties with family and friends. Sounds obvious, but in your next chapter, it's easy to let the new assignment, the new client, and even the new city crowd them out. And you tell yourself, yeah, I can go this alone. But family and friends are a large part of what got you here today, and you need to maintain those ties. These are the people on whom you can depend when things get tough, and they will. These are also the people that will be with you when you celebrate your victories, and you'll have those too. Stay close to the people who remind you of who you are, and seek out not only those who support you, but also the people that stretch you. Find people who remind you of who you are, and find people who show you what might be missing. Engage with people who bring different experiences, different perspectives, and different assumptions. Listen to them, debate them, learn from them. They will sharpen you, and you will sharpen them. Connections make you stronger, and differences can make you better. We actually need both. And speaking of hard things, life will keep happening as you build your legal career. You go to the office, it's dark. You come home, still dark. Some days you don't even get time for a bathroom break. And some days your calendar looks like it was designed by someone who really does not wish you well. Like many of you, I experienced life changes alongside law school. Back at orientation, I even suggested that some of you might find a spouse while in law school. Anyone? Get married? Engaged? Woo! There you go. There's still time. I could wait. Yeah. I met my husband during my first year. We got married at the end of our second year. I lost my father during first semester of third year, right before exams. And I was expecting our first child when I walked across the stage at graduation. Life does not pause as you do hard things. But we can get stronger as we balance hard things. My story is just one version of that truth. Your paths will be a mix of big moments and small ones, some planned and some beyond your control. As you stack the days together, you will see that you are getting better at doing the hard things. Challenge does not disappear as you succeed, but rather as you succeed one day after another, you become adept at taking on new and bigger challenges. That's the thrill of life itself, and it's also a pretty accurate description of the legal profession. The work ahead will not suddenly become easy because you now have a JD. You won't be able to rest on your laurels just because you got your dream job. And you will still have interesting days even after you shake that imposter syndrome. We all have it. But you will become stronger at meeting those moments. You will become steadier, wiser, more capable of holding on to what matters when the volume's at 11 and nobody can find the remote control. And here's why that steadiness really matters right now. You're entering the legal profession at a serious moment. Respect for the rule of law cannot be taken for granted. Judicial independence is not a given. When judges are threatened for doing their jobs, when lawyers are criticized simply for representing their clients or unpopular causes, and when fairness is treated as optional, something bigger is at risk. The public's confidence in the justice system itself is at stake. And that's not someone else's responsibility. Today, it becomes your responsibility too. So, if that sounds heavy, remember this. Lawyers can make a difference. Lawyers absolutely do make a difference. But most of that work doesn't happen all at once. The world changes more quietly. It changes because people show up and do the work in front of them with skill, integrity, and purpose. Skill, integrity, and purpose. That's how the law works. We make a difference most often not in one grand moment, but across many moments that ask for courage, discipline, patience, and heart. And that's how lawyers help change the world, day by day, client by client, choice by choice. Those days add up, and over time, they shape lives, they strengthen communities, they influence what comes next. And that's why I have such confidence in all of you. And it's also why the relationships you build after today will matter just as much as the ones you have here. Stay connected to one another. Stay connected to your mentors. Stay connected to your values. And yes, to bar associations. You didn't think you were getting out of here without a commercial for the American Bar Association, now did you? I have watched bar associations help lawyers find their footing, find their voice, and find the work that matters to them. And I've seen how powerful it is when lawyers come together to solve a problem or advance a cause. Look for people that want to do that and join in the work. No one becomes the lawyer that they hope to be in isolation. They know, and I hope you know, it's better to go together. So as you step into what comes next, take a moment to celebrate what you have accomplished, the people you have helped, the people who have helped build you, and the discipline and sacrifice that brought you here. When you face the hard things, the days that ask for your judgment, your courage, your compassion, and your voice, remember, you were built for this moment. And while you may not always see the results right away of doing the hard things, the work you do day by day can change a life, strengthen a community, and shape what comes next. That's no small thing. That is the work we do as lawyers. And now it's your turn. Go do hard things. Congratulations, class of 2026, on Wisconsin.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you for being there at the start of these students' law school experience and for sharing your inspiration and wisdom now as they prepare to move out there into the world. You're absolutely right that whatever butterflies you may be feeling or will be feeling soon as you begin your careers as lawyers, you all are well prepared to go out there into the world and do the hard work it takes to make a difference in people's lives and to shape the future. Now, our next group of speakers are members of this year's graduating class. Our students choose from among their classmates who will serve as the speakers in the ceremony. Our first speaker from the JD graduating class, one of two JD speakers, is Savannah Aluwalia. Savannah is originally from Michigan and a graduate of University of Michigan. We won't hold that against her, with a degree in business administration. After college, she lived in Oregon and worked for the United States Environmental Protection Agency. During law school, she has been exceptionally active in student organizations and co-curricular activities, including the American Constitution Society, Environmental Law Society, Law Review, Mock Trial, and the Asian Pacific Islander American Law Students Association. She's also been active in one of our clinics, the Wisconsin Innocence Project, and has served as a student fellow in our academic enhancement program and a student ambassador for our admissions office. Savannah's service to other people has not gone unnoticed. She recently received the Friends of the Remington Center Endowment Award for her commitment to justice under our legal system. And after graduating, she plans on a career in public interest law as a public defender. Please join me in welcoming Savannah to the podium.
Thank you, Dean Takagi. I want to start by saying that it is an immense honor to be speaking in front of you today. To my classmates, the class of 2026, thank you for trusting me with this speech, and congratulations. I want to thank my family, my mom, my dad, and my sister for their relentless support. I would not be here today if it were not for you. I want to thank my friends near and far, especially my girls of Schedule 1, Trivia at the Brass Ring, and those in the Remington Center for supporting me through this journey. I want to thank every other person that I've interacted with here at the law school who has helped me figure out who I am, what kind of person I want to be, and what kind of lawyer I want to be. A few weeks ago, I was racking my brain trying to figure out what to say today, and I realized I was almost late for my class, Criminal Justice System, a Lived Experience Perspective. Each week, our instructors brought in speakers who had been touched by the criminal legal system in some way, whether they had been incarcerated themselves, were prosecutors, judges, police officers, and more. We started, though, every class with a guided mindfulness session led by a woman named Deb. Deb taught us, among many things, sober, stop, observe, breathe, expand, and then respond. This mindfulness technique was a tool that Deb used to stay grounded while she was serving time in the Wisconsin prison system. In class, we also listened to Deb tell her story. In 1994, she was sentenced to 20 years. While in prison, she quickly began helping the chaplain in the afternoons, and she began to be someone that her peers could turn to for help. When Deb was released on supervision, it was only 5 months later that she was asked to come back to a state prison to serve as a leader for a domestic violence support group. Deb didn't want to go. She really, really didn't. She never wanted to step foot in a prison again. But she went anyways. She showed up for the people who needed her support and advice. And after, she ended up receiving a slew of other invitations to speak and lead group events, which she told me she did not want to do. But she kept coming back anyways, and she ended up, as she says, being forced into a role as a prison chaplain. But she served in that role for 17 years. She touched countless lives and guided them through some of the toughest and darkest moments that any of us could ever imagine. She didn't want to do it at the beginning, but she did. And eventually, she realized that so many people's lives were better simply because she kept showing up. Over the past 3 years, I have seen my classmates show up, even when they really did not want to, even when they felt like they couldn't. Some of us moved across the country to begin our legal careers. Some of us across the world. Some of us had children. Some of us dealt with loss and grief. Some of us got married. Some of us bought homes. And some of us, like yours truly, tore ligaments in really dumb ways. But no matter how big or small the challenge, we kept showing up, even when we really didn't feel like it. And we showed up not only for ourselves, but we showed up for each other. We showed up for our friends, whether it was cheering them up after a bad cold call or cheering them on at the marathon. We built student organizations from the ground up, and we provided our classmates with a home away from home. We rallied and pushed for change both within our school and outside of it. We protested at the state capitol, and we stood up for what we believed in. If I tried to list off all of the amazing things that my classmates have done for others, I would surely be forced off the stage. We are entering the legal profession at a confusing, difficult time. There is so much pain, so much violence, and so much uncertainty around us every single day. And it feels at times as if we are up against a huge, immovable system. We might feel like anything we do won't matter, won't make a difference. But every day, we can keep showing up, and we can keep moving that needle just a little bit. We can make an impact on an individual life. We can use our power and privilege as attorneys to fight for due process for all people, for widespread access to legal assistance, for workplace fairness, for equal voting rights, for a clean environment, and so much more. Over time, all of those small actions add up. So, to the class of 2026, a couple years back, I leave you with this. As we move forward in our lives, both personally and professionally, even when we feel small, like we can't make a difference, we stop, we breathe, and then we keep showing up. Thank you.
Thank you, Savannah, for those moving remarks, and thank you for showing up for your classmates, your clients, and for all of us. We are very fortunate to have you as a part of our community. A big part of this law school's mission, which Savannah exemplifies, is preparing our students to be advocates for equal justice under law. That is one of those things that makes this law school distinctive and special. Service is integral to our profession, of course, and it is at the core of the Wisconsin idea that we all, while we're here and after we leave, strive to serve. To reinforce the importance of service to other people, the law school has a wide range of activities, student organizations, and co-curricular programs in which our students participate. And in fact, not just Savannah, but all of our student speakers today are stellar examples of this dedication to service, as is our entire student body. Now, every year, the law school confers a small number of awards that recognize exceptional service by our students. The written program you have for today and our program this afternoon, the ceremony, doesn't afford enough time or space to name everybody who received these honors, but if you turn in your program to page 23, you will find a QR code that will take you to a website listing all of the awards, including awards for service on the part of our students. Now, I want to note that some of these awards, such as the Dean's List and Best Performance in specific courses, have not been determined yet, and will be added to the awards website later in the spring and in the summer. We're waiting for this information to be finalized so that the university registrar can accurately report which students have received these honors. And to do that, we'll all have to, on this side of the stage, get our final grades submitted on time. So just a reminder, gentle reminder to our faculty sitting behind us how important that is. Okay, and now to our next and second and final JD speaker. We'll have one more student speaker after that. Justin Davis. Justin hails from Chicago, Illinois. He earned his bachelor's degree in accountancy from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Since his arrival here at the University of Wisconsin Law School, Justin has been very busy. He's been an active member of the Black Law Students Association. That's right. And served on Balsa's mock trial team during his first year of law school. His team later qualified to compete at nationals, which is an amazing accomplishment for a first-year student. His interest in oral advocacy later brought him into our mock trial program, and during his time in this program, Justin was awarded the Susan Steingass Award for his high level of advocacy and performance. Justin has also cultivated an interest in business law here at the UW Law School. He's a member of the Real Estate and Securities Investment Law Society. He worked in a bankruptcy firm the summer before his second year, where he focused on creditor and debtor rights issues, and last summer worked at a large national law firm focusing on workplace law matters, including discrimination, wage and hour disputes, and labor relations. After graduation, Justin will combine his passions for business and advocacy at Jackson Lewis, where he will be a civil litigation associate. We're all, I know, very excited to hear from Justin, so please join me in welcoming him to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Dean Takaji. I'm going to pretend to be brave for 6 minutes. Thank you to the faculty and the administration for creating an educational community that allowed us to thrive. Thank you to all the family and friends for your love and unwavering support, and a special thank you to the parents who always believed in us. Finally, to the graduates, if you're currently seated here in a cap and gown, congratulations. You did the impossible. You survived Trust in the States. I am honored to speak to you all today at one of the very best law schools in the country. Pound for pound, a badger is one of the toughest animals in the animal kingdom. Badgers do not back down from a challenge, and neither do we. 3 years ago, we all started this journey together, each having to adapt to change, sometimes on our own, but often with the support of family, friends, professors, and mentors. When I started law school, I briefly entertained the idea of working to become a prosecutor. I had the privilege to learn from Professor John Gross alongside the rest of Schedule II my 1L year. Professor Gross worked as a public defender, and when asked why he did not become a prosecutor, he stated he was not interested in putting people in cages. In a country with an incarcerated population of nearly 2 million people, the most of any on the planet, I figured the government does not need my help. It is important to remain responsive to change as it comes for us all, whether we're ready or not. And we have all embraced big changes before. Some of us left the workforce to come back to school, while others like me are K through JD students. For those who may not know, a K through JD student is someone who has been in school since kindergarten, never had a full-time job, and is completely broke. The fact we are sitting in this room together means we all have what it takes to change, to thrive, and to make tough decisions. Organizations like the Wisconsin Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers advocated this year for people who received life sentences as minors. Our Wisconsin Law Review did a great job this year publishing an article about the abuses in the pharmaceutical regulatory regime. As someone who pays $150 for an inhaler, they could have just asked me. To my community and the Black Law Student Association, the Latino Law Student Association, AALANCIA, to the Indigenous Law Student Association, to the Middle Eastern Law Student Association, to the Queer Law Student Association, to the Pacific Islander and South Asian Law Student Association, and to all the Badgers who helped make this school a great place, we did it. As evidence of that, the Leo room was a mess the last time I was in there. We are all tasked with helping to change the face of the legal profession in this country, ensuring a diversity of opinion, and for writing our own stories. No matter how much the world changes around us, never forget that we all have a place in it. As lawyers, whether you end up practicing law or writing law, we have a considerable influence on the lives of our fellow Americans. Use your influence for the greater good, because behind every law, there was someone ready to abuse it. In our first year of constitutional law, we learned that lawyers and judges wield, if anything, enormous power, for better and for worse. And if you think that is an exaggeration, look no further than the current Supreme Court of the United States. Having the courage to do the right thing now is critical. So where your fear of change lies, that is your task. I urge all of us to tackle our fears and become the change that we want to see. Do you want to ensure that your parents are taken care of as they age? Then trust in estate planning is waiting for you to create change. Do you want to ensure that employees everywhere are treated with dignity and respect, then change labor and employment law for the better. Do you want to protect your community and ensure fair sentencing? Then prosecute and do it well. Do you want to protect your community? And are you concerned about the rise of faceless, unaccountable law enforcement agents? Then serve the public and protect the rights of all people. Let us find what's broken in the world and go fix it. We will never be able to please everyone, but if we endeavor to affect the greater good, then that'll be enough. When faced with change, the choices we make will also make us. So choose to be thoughtful, choose to show kindness, choose to forgive, choose to change, choose to fight like a badger. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justin, for reminding us not only of the toughness of us Badgers, but also of your all's capacity and responsibility to use your legal education to serve the greater good. You know, the ability to have not only knowledge of law, but to advocate, which you have developed over the last few years, these are tools that can be used for good or for ill. And I hope you all will take Justin's sage advice and do your best to use them to help people and to make a difference, a positive difference in the world. Our final student speaker is Xiaoruo Li. Xiaoruo is an international student from China in our LLM, our master's program, which primarily serves students who come from outside of the United States. Many of these students have law degrees in their home countries, and some have had robust practice experience, legal careers overseas. Now, law school, as you all know, it's a difficult experience for everyone, but it's especially difficult when you're coming from a different language and culture. I had the privilege of teaching Introduction to American Law to many of our LLM students this year, and let me tell you, they are a remarkable group. It takes a great deal of courage, bravery, and an adventurous spirit to come sometimes from halfway around the world to the United States to study. And they have done an amazing job and made an impact on our community while they've been here. So to our LLM and SJD students, job well done to you all. Now, our last student speaker, Xiaoruo, earned her Bachelor's of Law and LLB in Sociology from Anhui University. She also has master's and doctoral law degrees from Peking University, and before coming here, practiced as a compliance lawyer in China. During her time at UW Law, Xiaoruo has demonstrated, like our other two student speakers, a strong commitment to public service. She participated in many pro bono activities, interning at Legal Action of Wisconsin, and assisting lawyers who were providing service in employment discrimination and other workplace claims. She did all this while being fiercely committed to her studies and earning a place on the dean's list. After graduation, Xiaoruo will practice family law with a firm in California. Please join me in now welcoming her to the podium.
Thank you, Dean Takagi. Good afternoon, everyone, fellow students of the class of 2026, professors, families, and friends who came all the way here to support your loved ones at this important moment of their lives. My name is Zhao Ruo, and I'm from China. First, I want to say congratulations to everyone who just survived law school, and also congratulations for surviving another difficult winter in Wisconsin. Speaking of surviving law school, I know it is a 3-year journey of joy and stress, of struggles and successes for most of you sitting here. The competition is real, and the pressure is constant. But at least there is a relatively clear path forward. Just like in the American legal system, precedents matter, and there are precedents to follow. However, things are a bit different for a specific group of students sitting here today. Some of them are here for one intense year, doing the LLM or the Masters of Laws program, and others staying here longer as SJD students to pursue academic research. And like Dean Takagi just said, we share 2 things in common. One, we originally came from a different country. And 2, almost all of us have a story of case of first impression to tell. Of course, we all start the same way, overwhelmed by classes, speaking English, and peer pressure. And outside the school, we're trying to learn a whole new way of living. Why is the bus never on time here? And how do we not frown when biting into a cake with American level of sweetness? And I know many of you have heard about the legend of winter before you came to Wisconsin here, but I bet none of us from China, Thailand, Mexico, Brazil, and many other places around the world truly understand what it means to survive 6 months of cold, hard winter every year. While JD students have the same struggle and fear in their first year, things soon start to differ. JD students have a system, a timeline, and a set of expectations that have been repeated for decades. There's no such established pipeline for graduate students, no precedent of what comes next. And after the first semester, many of us start to ask ourselves the same question. What do we do now? Should we do moot court? Well, I'm not sure many students have done that, students like you. What about clinics? That's a new thing for LLM students, So tell me about summer internships. I know every one of you is applying for that. I mean, you can try, but maybe you have to explain what an LLM program is to your employer first. And how do we get interviews? What should we do after graduation? We ask these questions to everyone around us in law school. And most of the time, the answers we receive are, I'm not sure, or simply no. We try to find precedent, and there is none. Sounds exhausting, isn't it? But are we just going to drown in the swamp of uncertainty and depression? No. Luckily, for all the I'm not sure answers, there's always followed by a maybe. Maybe you can reach out to that professor. Maybe talk to that law firm. Present yourself and tell them why you're just as qualified as a JD student. There may be no precedent of hiring an LLM student here, but you can become the case of first impression. Throughout the year, I have seen many of my friends in this law school have created their own path. For example, Ms. Mayara Albuquerque, another LLM student who's graduating today, has spent much of her time doing the immigration pro bono work at the Community Immigration Law Center. Mayara is not here today, but I'm sure you're watching this right now. So I want to say your professionalism and dedication have really made you stand out as one of the first few LLM students who work at the center. And that will definitely contribute to your future dream as an immigration law attorney. My best friend, Leo Lee, at this law school, he's an SJD student, and he's here to support me with his lovely girlfriend today. He's almost always the last one to leave law library, and I'm pretty sure that helped him secure the spot in the circulation desk. But more importantly, Leo stays late because he works harder than anybody else I know. And that dedication has earned him, as a non-native speaker, many opportunities at the English-speaking scholarships, conferences, and academic forums. I have also seen many other success stories of our graduate students after graduation. They become contract negotiators, prosecutors, or even senior counsels and partners in various states and even around the world. And of course, many of their paths are so unique that they cannot simply be copied, but knowing that they made it will give the rest of us strength. It reminds us that even without a precedent, a future is possible. It is a tough fight, and it's tougher than ever, because we came here when the immigration is more restrictive than ever. I am deeply grateful for all the professors, JD students, as well as student organizations who care deeply about us and helped us along the way. But the most important help came from ourselves. Commencement is a big moment for everyone, so congratulations to everyone who's graduating today. But I would like to pay special tribute to the graduate students here today, since we're such a small fraction of the student body and our voices are rarely heard, but you made your way through law school in your own unique way in this tough time. I want you to be seen for your efforts in this journey, and that one day you may become a precedent for who comes after. Congratulations, everyone. It is a great fight. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Xiaorul, for sharing your insights and giving us all a sense of the determination that it has taken for our LLM and SJD students to navigate the distinct challenges that they've faced and to arrive at this moment. I want you all to know that we see you, and not just that, we appreciate you and the way that you have enriched our community. Every year, our graduating class chooses a faculty member who they wish to hear from at this ceremony. And this year, the graduating class has selected Professor John Gross. Professor Gross directs the Public Defender Project in the Frank J. Remington Center, which, as you heard earlier, is the home to our criminal law and prisoner representation clinics at the law school. He's taught criminal law and procedure, trial practice, and he shared with me earlier today evidence and poverty law as well over his long career in law teaching. Prior to arriving at UW Law, Professor Gross worked in multiple capacities in many places, including the Legal Aid Society in New York City, Syracuse University College of Law, National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, University of Alabama School of Law, and the Defender Association of Philadelphia. He holds a bachelor's degree from Georgetown and a JD from Hofstra School of Law. He's a sought-after media expert who you may have seen appearing in various media outlets and having published several op-eds over the years. He's also a popular teacher and beloved mentor to many of our students. You've already heard from Justin Davis what an impact Professor Gross had on him. What great teachers do is to challenge their students to evaluate information critically, push them to understand perspectives that are different from the one they came in with, and inspire them to see the many ways in which students can use their legal education to help other people. And our students, many of them, can testify to the way that Professor Gross does these things. So for that reason and others, I'm delighted and excited to hear his words of wisdom for our graduates. Please join me in welcoming my colleague, Professor Gross to the podium.
Thank you, Dean Takagi. I'm very honored that you chose me to be this year's faculty speaker. For those of you who don't know, the students nominate and then vote for this honor. And I've been told that there were some voting irregularities this year, including a large number of votes by mail from Philadelphia. The administration has informed me that next year there will be imposed strict voter ID laws going forward. To be honest, after I was told that I was elected to be the faculty speaker, I was tempted to demand a recount. I mean, I'm honored, but I've been to enough graduations to know that this is a tough gig. You have all been in school for around 20 years. And at this point, I'm the only thing standing between you and graduation. Also, those of you who voted for me, you probably, like Justin, had me for criminal law, which meets, if you don't know, that class meets for just under an hour, 4 days a week, which means I lectured you for roughly 45 hours over the course of a semester. If you think I was holding back my A material, you are mistaken. But I'll do my best to offer a little wisdom and one last memorable moment. I'd like to start out by talking about some of the folks you will have to deal with when practicing law. Then I'll take a few moments to offer some suggestions on how to practice law. And finally, I'll share some thoughts about the role of lawyers in our society. To begin, many of you probably left jobs in customer service to attend law school. You should know that immediately following your walk across this stage, you will go right back to working in the customer service industry. Clients are important. In fact, you can't practice law without them. And the most important thing to know about clients is that they have an urgent need to be understood. That means you need to spend a lot of time listening to them talk. And I mean really listening, not responding with something clever. And when a client tells you something sad, be sad with them. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Sadly, some clients are going to lie to you. Don't get mad about this. It is perfectly normal for them to be less than candid about their situation. They want you to like them and think that they are good people. How many of us have answered the question, do you floss regularly, truthfully? All right, now let's talk about judges. In my experience, their defining characteristic is that they do not actually want to make decisions. That might sound strange, but I assure you the last thing a judge wants to do is judge. It turns out decisions are hard. They require listening to both parties, doing research, and then maybe even writing something down. And after all that trouble, some other judge might come along and tell them that they got it wrong, and then they have to do it all over again. So who can blame them? Nothing makes a judge happier than hearing a lawyer say, "We've reached an agreement." Also, judges want to know why you are bothering them, and they want to know it right away. Just say what you want and why you think you're entitled to it, and you should know that judges aren't even the most important people in the courtroom. It is the court officers and the judge's clerk that actually run things, okay? So always be nice to them. As for opposing counsel, I would encourage you to apply what is referred to as Hanlon's razor, and yes, philosophy majors, it is a version of Occam's razor. And it's this: never attribute to malice what is adequately explained by stupidity or neglect, okay? Unless you're dealing with a prosecutor, in which case you can assume all three. If you thought the director of the Public Defender Project wasn't going to work in a joke about prosecutors, you were mistaken. Now, when you begin your practice, don't be afraid to say, "I don't No. New lawyers get nervous about admitting that they don't know something. Don't be. Doctors routinely tell patients, we need to do some tests, which is just their way of saying the exact same thing. Another thing you should know is that the law actually isn't that important. Most of the time, everyone involved will know what the law is. What you're going to be arguing about is how it should be applied. A good example of this is our definition of reasonable doubt. To find someone guilty of a crime, the state must prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. What is reasonable doubt? Well, 250 years of legal thought can be distilled down to this: a doubt based upon reason and common sense. A doubt for which a reason can be given. Thanks for that. Super helpful, really clears things up. Oh, and if you really want to be successful, not just in law, but in life, no matter what you do, you need to have a growth mindset. Yes, you still have a lot of work to do. Our culture is obsessed with natural talent, but the reality is that to be good at something requires effort, and I can prove it. So we involve the audience here for this part of the talk. By show of hands, how many of you have read a play by William Shakespeare? He's doing quite well for himself. Okay, how many of you have read Henry VI, parts 1, 2, or 3, or The Two Gentlemen of Verona? There's a few die-hard English majors in the crowd. Okay, a lot of hands went down there. Look, there's a reason for that. Those are some of his first plays. They are not nearly as good as Hamlet or Macbeth, which he wrote after 10 to 15 years of experience. Also, do you know who else knows that it is more about effort than talent? From sprinkler splashes to fireplace ashes, I gave my blood, sweat, and tears for this. They said, babe, you gotta fake it till you make it, and I did. I'm still a believer, but I don't know why. I've never been a natural. All I do is try, try, try. She can even do it with a broken heart. Another important bit of advice, please don't try to talk like a lawyer. Certain English words are fancy and show people how smart you are, while others work much better when you're in a hurry. You might politely ask someone for assistance, but if you were drowning, you would yell, help. Speak so people can understand. More Hemingway and less Austen. And it should go without saying that Latin is right out. Here are 3 things that you should think about when writing or speaking. Repeat sounds, repeat words, and make lists of 3. And whenever possible, do it all at the same time. People like it when you repeat sounds. This is called alliteration if you do it with consonants, and it's assonance if you do it with vowels, but those are both Latin words, which I just said you shouldn't use. It's why the Beatles whisper words of wisdom, why AC/DC is Back in Black, and why we sing Build Me Up, Buttercup at football games. It also helps to repeat things because people have short attention spans. Keeping on the musical theme, every song has a chorus. And as for the rule of 3, 2 things lead to a comparison. 4 things seem like the start of a lengthy list, but 3 is the sweet spot. Okay? We count to 3, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, 3 Musketeers, 3 Stooges, 3 K-pop demon hunters. Sure, occasionally you might find a dynamic duo or a Fab 4, but they're only getting away with it because you're repeating sounds. When you combine these techniques, you've really got something good. You can get a whole stadium of people to jump around, jump around, jump around, jump up, and get down. You might even find yourself at the Oscars going up, up, up. It's your moment, and you're gonna be golden. And yes, that is the second Huntrix reference that I made. It's also why we remember that our inalienable rights include life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which reminds me that our Declaration of Independence is turning 250 years old this year. I hear that there's going to be a big celebration at the White House on July the 4th. I believe it's being sponsored by Buzzballs, hosted by Joe Rogan, and it's going to feature a UFC fight in the Rose Garden. Now I like the Declaration of Independence, but it's just a statement about who we no longer are. It declares that we are no longer subject to the authority of King George. I prefer the Constitution because it tells us what we are, or at least what we aspire to be, and it is what you swear to uphold when you become a lawyer. When people think about upholding the Constitution, they typically think of upholding the rule of law, ensuring that people receive due process and that individual rights, like the right to free speech, are defended. In other words, they focus on the Bill of Rights. Nobody pays much attention to the preamble, the first sentence. That sentence doesn't do anything specific. It doesn't create the office of president or the two houses of Congress or the judiciary, but it does tell us what the people who wrote the Constitution were hoping to accomplish. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. First and foremost, they wanted a more perfect union, which, if you think about it, doesn't make a lot of sense. How can something be more perfect? Don't worry, it's not a mistake. It's a paradox, a kind of contradiction that conveys deeper meaning. And what would this more perfect union do? It would establish justice, ensure tranquility, promote the general welfare. As lawyers, these are the principles you will swear to uphold. We seem to have lost sight of the need to form a more perfect union. Instead, many people have discovered that they can personally profit from a less perfect union. Convincing just 51% of likely voters that they should be afraid of the other candidate is not the way to form a more perfect union. As lawyers, we take an oath to use the law to bring about a more perfect union. We should use our privileged position to inform, to educate, and to encourage others to be empathetic. We should reject rigid dichotomies that lead to dehumanization and demonization. To quote F. Scott Fitzgerald, the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. Some of you might think that it's strange that I would be asking lawyers to foster unity and understanding since they operate within an adversarial system. But good lawyers are empathetic. They speak in plain English. They tell stories. They increase our understanding of what we were, what we are, and what we could become. They know that faith is not the absence of doubt, but the decision to believe despite doubt. That courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that there is something more important than fear. That justice is not something we should seek after someone is harmed, but something we must create to keep us safe. So I say to you graduates, have faith, take courage, do justice, make us a more perfect union. Thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much, Professor Gross, for that fantastic advice delivered with your trademark sense of humor. And graduates, this is something I want you to remember. You are entering a fantastic profession, but don't let anyone kid you. Law school was hard, and being a lawyer, that's hard too. Keep that sense of humor, right? Don't forget to laugh and laugh with one another. It is really important in doing the things that we all know you can and will do. Well, we now come to a very special point in the program, presenting our degree candidates with their hoods. This symbolic process publicly demonstrates that you have completed your degree. The colors on the hood represent both the graduate's field of study and the university where they earned their degree. The purple, for you all, represents law, and the red represents, of course, the greatest university in all of the land, the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Now, unless you join a faculty, you probably will not have a chance to wear your academic regalia again soon. But if you do have occasion to wear it at an academic ceremony and it's properly chosen, you and anyone else can figure out from the regalia the highest degree that the person obtained, that it's a law degree, and that you earned it from the University of Wisconsin. I also want to call attention to the cardinal red stoles that you'll see many of our graduates wearing today. These graduates are ones who will graduate, we expect, with high academic honors and have consistently excelled in their studies here. So here's what's going to happen now. Our graduates are going to stand as they're led row by row by our ushers. They're going to head for the stage. Once you get up here, you'll see some dotted lines and footprints. When you come to the stage, you're going to be presented in order of degree type, and then in alphabetical order by last name, starting with our JD students, and then our LLM and SJD students. You'll give your card to our Cracker Jack staff when you arrive on the stage, and then when your name is read, you'll step up to the faculty members on stage right around this area over here who will present your hood to you. They're going to help you put it over your head and complete your splendid academic regalia. 2 graduates, and again you'll see footprints up here, will be hooded at a time, and after that they'll make sure that your hood and your gown and cap look absolutely perfect. You'll proceed off of the stage towards the photo area. You'll shake my hand if you wish as you're going this way, where we'll have professional photographers that you can already see taking photos. So this is a celebratory moment. We want you all and everyone here to celebrate it in a way that suits you. Feel free to cheer, feel free to make noise, feel free to take photos. And as I mentioned, we've got a professional photographer. The images they take will be available afterwards for purchase, but you don't have to do that. You're also welcome to take your own. And there's space up here at the front, so when your graduate is about to come up onto the stage, you can come up into this area. Just make sure you coordinate with each other because the space up here is limited. Don't all come up at the beginning, right? Come up as your graduate is about to take the stage. And then kindly return to your seats afterwards so that the friends, family, and loved ones of other graduates can then come on up. And if you don't mind, please make sure to keep the aisles clear. We've got a lot of people here and we want to avoid any hazards, of course, so everybody safely returns to their seats. Once all of our graduates have been hooded, we'll ask everyone to take their seats for the closing and recessional. And so with that, let us start the hooding. Come on up.
Mary Mabushama. Ilea Anderson. Suzanne Anderson. Jason Archbold. Oliver Argueta. Jacqueline Ray Au. Ana Avendano Martinez. Aislinn Bailey. Caleb Baird. Grace Bow. Tori Baranowski. Isabel Batley. Sam Balcom. Nolan Bedwell. Allison Berry. Nicole Bazella. William Boatman. Marnie Bame. Elizabeth Baer. Harry Dean Broderick. Ava Brogan. Anastasia Burris. Garrett Buechler. Savannah Alawalia. Justin Davis. Liam Burns. June Bune. Deanne Tsai. Anthony Cartagena. Margaret Kavanaugh. Ji Chun. Kelly Chorin. Ethan Closer. Glenn Kofer. Shane Conley. Carl Krieger. Joel Cruz. Benjamin Kerwin. August Darrow. Michael DeLears. Elliot DePius. Jacqueline Dixon. Kevin Duffy. Caleb Derzinski. Emma Dworzinski. Garen Etherly. Andrew Ellis. Kate English. Irene Evans. Bethany Everts. Parker Friedrich. Jasmine Alexandria Fields. Lauren Joanne Smith Fennell. Hannah Flemke. Garrett Fortin. Meonte Foy. William Garcia. Hallie Christine Geiger. Greer Genchis. Savannah Jordan. Joshua Gienap. Lindsay Govan. Cameron Jamal Grayson. Christian Gronwald. Marissa Gummin. Jenna Heil. Jacob Hine. Larissa Hendricks. Tony Hensley. Emmett Hare. Grace Herman. Andrew Hillis. Jewel Holston. Jane Hoyer. Elizabeth Hunt. Tamara Ari Hyman. Carmen Ibarra. Kristen Iniguez. Matthew Iverson. Parker Jornby. Jessica Jersick. Allison Callan. Colton Lee Xavier Kamish. Casey Kim. Jalen Kirkland. Cameron Coleman. Jennifer Ellen Kornreich. Holly Krabby. Jacob Crookton. Madison Jean Larson. Christopher Michael Lawson. Holly Leal. Haley Leal. Matthew Levine. Henry Lee. Captain Brandon Michael Laredo. Aaron Lyman. Channing Mansky. Claire Manthe. Emily March. Liam McLean. Megan McMahon. Justice Moore. Yvonne Moreno. Travis Mullins. Morgan Christiana Murchison. Shannon Myers. Maxwell Mayram. Casey Needham. Patricia Needham. Bryce Robert Nelson. Coleman Newsom. John Denis. Regan Norton. Seamus O'Connell. Kendall Oschlager. Nicholas George Oriella. Yurong Pan. Eva Petrova. Eva Plum. Madison Pollock. William Pollard. Brandon Pope. Christina Noel Pope. Carlos Puga. Cora Purdue. Anna Quaddy. Caroline Ratio. Andrew Reed. Michaela Rumenstad. Anna Sage Rothy. Corey Saffold. Tanner Sarar. Rabia Sheikh. Hayue Shi. Sophia Elizabeth Siepert. Stephanie Covert Simon. Beta Sywek. Aaron Snyder. Caitlin Spiegel. Edward Steigerwald. Dara Stickert. Jackson Stouffer. Taylor Sunkey. Jason Sutherland. Alicia Swagger. Elise Swinson. Mairead Sweeney. Alexandra Thomas. Abigail Tomczyk. Genevieve Torrey. Jackson Truman. Kathleen Sophia Udak. Colin Vandehei. Erica Vosick. Luke Roberts Vagley. Matthew Wallace. Madeline Wolf. Zihan Wang. Grace Weaver. Adam Weber. Bianca Weiland. Michael Weinrib. Claraline Westmore. DeMarcus Williams. Benjamin Wilstein. Aaron Wolf. Nicholas Woods. Lauren Xiong. David Yanda. Colin Yandam. Madeline Yergler.
Xiaoro Li. Abubakar Zubair. Maria Moran. Tiziana Diaquino Amaral Alves. Anna Lawton. Kamala Eschanova. Menagon Benyapawong. Inxian Chong. Xuan Chu Sun. Joy Chefu. Damisa Promas. Ismediar Samanagov. Pongdanai Sira Punkong. Fusanisa Paubunkun. Si Chen. Tao Yuan. Biaolin Chang. Chihao Jiang. Chiwei Chang. Dingyuan Zhang. Bhumika Chiru Mamila. Susan Chomba. Daniela Castellanos. Selene Gulni Ha. Marcos Ismael Guillen Diaz. Omer Orhan Arjinjan. Kokuvi Cedro. Emmanuel Serato. Sinapad Su Sa Na Fong Pichan. Felipe Feria de Castro. Tianrin Utacharai.
So I'm technically the MC of today's ceremony, but you all know that Associate Dean Ginny Josty, right back there, is the one who really runs the show. So can we please all give her and her team a big round of applause for their great work? And then now we got to practice for the ceremony in Camp Randall by being real loud, enthusiastic. Bring the energy on this one. One big round of applause for all of our graduates. Woo! Congratulations. We are all, your teachers, your family, your friends, your loved ones, we are all so very proud of you, and we cannot wait to hear about all of the great things that we know you will do over the course of your lives and careers. It was an honor, and I say this on behalf of all of us, faculty and staff at the law school, to have been part of your journey. And you will always have a place at the University of Wisconsin Law School. For as I told you when I welcomed you at your orientation, once you're admitted to the law school, once you accept our offer of admission, you are part of our community. Not just during the year or 2 or 3 years that you're physically present in our building, but throughout your entire lives. And we will always, always welcome you back tomorrow, the next day, and throughout your lives. We can't wait to hear about everything that you accomplish in your careers. And then one more thing for those of you who are going to be participating in tomorrow's university-wide commencement at Camp Randall. I hope you will. So I just peeked at the program for that event, and guess what? They're smart because guess who they put first? The law school, of course, as it should be. So don't tell Chancellor Mnookin, but we're going to get things started off right, okay? So when I say tomorrow, do we have any Badger lawyers in the house? I want you all and all of your friends and family who choose to come as well in the grandstands to be super loud so that everybody in Wisconsin can hear you. Can you do that for me? All right. It's going to be fun. Okay. That about brings us to the conclusion of our program, but once more, our sincerest thanks to all the family, friends, and loved ones here and participating remotely. Thanks for showing up for our graduates and for everything you did to get them to this point. At this time, I'm going to lead the recessional, starting with the faculty on stage and followed by our graduates, who are now lawyers. Yeah, that deserves a cheer. Now, guests, we request that you please remain seated until the faculty, staff, and graduates have exited this hall. Graduates, ushers will assist you all during the recession by releasing you row by row at the appropriate time. And everybody, after the ceremony concludes, guess what? We're going to have a big old party on the roof of this building overlooking beautiful Lake Monona. So I'll meet you all up there. Thanks to you all, and forward. Let's go.